Hello friends, this is David Sami with a Christian Journey. Today I wanted to talk about the blessing of a simple life. And what I mean by that is I think one of the most neglected subjects in regard to becoming a godly person is the idea of a simple life. That to become a godly person requires a lifestyle. You know, by simple life, I don't mean a poverty-stricken life, but a life that has an objective, has a center, and everything revolves around that center and objective. Let me give you an example. Like if somebody wants to become maybe a football player, that decision requires that person to start maybe lifting weights and exercise, to watch his diets, and everything else that goes into making that person to become a football player. That goal and objective becomes the center of that person's life, and everything else would revolve around those objectives, like how much time maybe they spend with friends, or how much time they have for entertainment or leisure. Everything would begin to revolve around that goal and objective. To a certain extent, it's the same way with godliness. Godliness does not happen automatically. It requires a lifestyle. But unfortunately, one of our common pitfalls is that we take our cues and values from our society, and we create a life that resembles an unbeliever's lifestyle. And we end up with all the cares and anxiety that an unbeliever person has, or what we see common in our society. You know, in Matthew chapter 13, verse 22, the parable of four soil, Jesus talks about a soil that the seed is planted, but it gets choked by all the weeds and thorns that grow around it. That Jesus talks about that person who hears the word, but the worries and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches, they choke the word and it becomes unfruitful. You know, this is the sad commentary on most of our lives. Most of us, we live according to what we see and what is valued and esteemed in society. But we also want to be godly too. And these two objectives and goals cannot grow and live side by side. It's almost like one will dominate the other one. So we have to decide what is our objective. What do you want out of your life? You know, if you're a young person and you're just starting out in your life, what is your objective? What is your goal? If you want, like say, be a rich person, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, that would begin to direct your efforts, and it take away your heart in that direction. But if your goal is that I want to become a godly person, you need to make godliness the center of your life and build a life around that objective and that goal. That you want to be able to have time to meditate, read your Bible, pray, be able to use your gifts and talents for the Lord, fellowship with other believers. It requires time. And if you want a real growth, it requires your focus. That this is my focus. This is where I want my life to go, and I want to end up to be a godly person. And build a life around that objective. You see, this world esteems the people who have achieved things or who have gained material possession. But maybe the way God esteems us and esteems people is by who they have become. Did they become godly? Who do they have become? But you see, to seek to create a simple life. And the simple life means that you want these things to be the main driving force in your life, but maybe you have to do with less. You have to kind of control your desires. You can be drawn away by what other people's drive, but your focus is something altogether different. You know, when we go and create a life that is just like everybody else, the way the world and our society dictates and tells us that this is what is good, this is what should be your goals and objective, accumulation of wealth, gain possession, gain things. These things become shackles around our ankle, and slowly we would lose our freedom, and life dictate to us what we can do and can't do. We lose our freedom. We don't have the freedom that it requires to pursue godliness. But if I want to become godly, does it mean that I have to live poor or become poor? Not necessarily. Because if you become the right kind of person, allow success to be the byproduct of who you are becoming. Like when you follow God's direction, for instance, in regard to job, God says to work with all your heart. Whatever you find, whatever you're doing, do it with all your heart. Do it as unto Him. So if you become a hard worker, if you follow God's way of doing things, success will come as a result of who you are becoming. But when you make riches or money your goal, now that would make you to become somebody altogether different. You may gain it, but you lose who you are. Maybe you lose your own soul, and you end up not liking who you have become. What is the goal? That makes all the difference. You see, we cannot have both of this. I think it's an illusion that we can have everything. I want all the riches, I want all the things that this world has to offer, and I want to become godly. You see, when you want to pursue all of these things that the world has to offer, it requires a certain amount of care. It would bring anxiety into your life. You then become more worried to keep the things that you have gained rather than to be at ease, to be at peace. Be happy with your lot in life. We all have to work, we all have to earn a living. But when you make the things that requires to be a godly person and build a life around that, then be happy with your lot in life, with how much you have, and build the life on what you do have. But know this, that God knows what you need. He will provide the things that you need and what you need to have. My life, to a certain extent, is really been an example of this. I have never been a person who was big on pursuing after careers or riches, but to a certain extent, I try to pursue after God. And by no means I have become perfect or I've always done things the right way, but to a certain extent, I have tried to become godly. I have tried to pursue after God. But I can honestly say, after over close to 35 years, God added everything to my life. Everything came for me. It wasn't because I achieved them. It came for me, but then I did the best I could with what God brought into my life. And I'm not living a poverty-stricken life. I have everything I need. All my needs are met. And I'm happy with the quality of life that I'm leading. But somebody may look at my life and think, oh, you could do a lot better. You could do a lot more. But you see, I didn't want to go that extra mile. We have to ask ourselves the question, how much is enough? how much is enough? And I'm not willing to go beyond that, because going beyond that would then bring all the anxieties, all the care, all the distraction, all the other trappings. And those things would eventually turn away my heart toward a direction that I don't want to go. It would turn my heart to the things of this world rather than things of the world to come. So we have to ask ourselves, how much is enough? But if you begin by making godliness your goal and be willing to be content with whatever God gives you, maybe God gives you a lot in life, maybe not so much, but at the bottom line, I want to have a peaceful life. I want to have a life that is not filled with care and anxiety, so I can pursue God. And I believe you actually will have a better quality of life. How many people you know that maybe have gained riches and wealth, but their life is filled with care and anxiety? Is this how you want to be? And how can somebody become godly when their life is this way? But you see, unfortunately for many of us, we pursue the same things because it's not impressed upon us that godliness requires a lifestyle. We cannot take our cues from a world that is, in a sense, has satanic values and end up godly too. So be mindful of that. Be mindful to create a simple life. A life that allows you to be able to pursue things that would make you to become a good person, a right kind of person. And you will actually see that your life ended up to be a blessed life, and all your needs will be met because God knows you need them. But what it requires of you is a trust in God, faith in God, that I know God knows what I need and He will give me what I need. Not necessarily what I think He ought to give me, but He will give me what I need. But I can become a godly person and make that the goal of my life. And toward the end of my life, I'll be able to look back with satisfaction, knowing that I made the right choice. Right now, I'm close to my 60s. And I look back at my life and some of my friends' life, and I can honestly say that God has been very good to me, and God gave me more than I deserve, because God is good. But you see, I see in other friends' life who pursue the things of this world and how their life turned out and how it became. And maybe it's not where they want to be. But think to yourself, how do you want your life to look like when you are in your 60s? Did it matter much what kind of car you drive when you were in your 20s or 30s? Did it matter much how many bedrooms your house had? But you see, what matters is who you became. How is your marriage? How did your kids turn out? Those things that are lasting. And those are the things that you want to make to be the center of your life and build your life around it. But if you find yourself in a life that is just pulling you apart, consider, how can I make my life simple? How can I make my life to be just the necessity of things that I need in order for me to have a peaceful life? And I want to pursue God. I want to become godly. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because I don't hear it as much. That don't fall into the trap of creating a life that the society promotes, that the culture promotes and values. But you see, we go in that direction, but we want godliness too. And I think it cannot both be at the same time. We almost have to choose one over the other and be willing to live with the result and the consequences. But for Christian, I want to really make you ask that question. What is the goal of your life? What are you pursuing? What is the center of your life? And examine it in light of what we just talked about. And hopefully consider living a simple life that allows you the quietness, the stillness, the calmness of a spirit, and allows you to be able to move toward godliness. So, with all of these things in mind, may the Lord be with you, may He watch over you, may He give you peace, and may He make you consider your steps and consider the life that you're creating. Until next time, this is David Sami with a Christian Journey.